Welcome to another episode of Redesigning Your Relationships podcast. I'm your host, Giovanna Burgess White, with my co host.
Hello, I'm Yvette Valdenegro.
Oh, and if you're watching us live for the first time, welcome. We go live every single Wednesday. And if you're listening to us on our podcast or the replay, welcome back. Today we're on our I love this. We're on our mini series. We're on part 2 out of 6. We are talking about one of my favorite topics, boundaries. And today we're talking about boundaries with your business. Also can be career, corporate job, side hustle, whatever it is that you do. We want to have a conversation around boundaries. But before we get started, for those of you guys who don't know us, we are relationship coaches. We coach women in 3 different areas in their life. We help women rebalance with their business, redesign their marriage, and recover during and after divorce. And the common denominator there is we just help women with rediscovery of themselves. We focus on you. So today, that's part of you. We did our part 1 last week, which was boundaries with yourself. If you didn't watch that, please go back because it's super important to have those boundaries established before you can move on to any other relationship in your life. And I'll let my amazing co-host talk about what a relationship is, because I think people, it seems easy, right? A relationship, but everyone's like, oh, you guys are like with people that are married. That's what you do. No, the relationships go deeper. There's so many. So why don't you give them a little snippet of relationship?
What is a relationship? Okay, a relationship is anything, anyone, or any concept that you are having an emotional response and a behavior, or that you feel like you're totally connected to. So we give examples because it's a lot easier to understand what the heck that all means. So for example, you're having a relationship with your phone, because your phone, when it talks to you, because it does, Siri, actually Siri can be a man or a woman, I love that, speaks to us, and our phones give us notifications, and when it rings or whatever, we actually respond to it in positive, neutral, or negative ways, and we're connected to it. How many times I literally walk around with my phone all the time, and I know most people do. It's always in a bag next to us. It's just and most people will say they feel naked without it. That's a relationship. Relationships can, like we're going to talk about today, can be with our business, what we're doing day in and day out, because we're connected to it. How much are we connected to it? How much does it affect our behaviors? And how much does it affect us emotionally? And all those can be everything from negative to positive, but we're having a relationship with our business, and then obviously with people that are around us, because that's easier to monitor, see. We have all those feelings, we know the behaviors, good or bad, with the people that we live with, work with, or our partners. So that's a little bit easier to understand. But we're constantly with, which is the great thing about our world, is that we are constantly connecting with our environment. So how our environment affects us is very important, but it's us. How do we see that environment? How do we feel inside about our environment? How do we feel inside about ourselves, first and foremost? And then that's such a it reflects out in the world with our relationships.
Yes. So for those of you guys who think relationships are just with people, they are not. I'm going to do a quick shout out. We had our conference last week with Weiss. We were one of their interactive speakers. We had a great time speaking to close to 300 women who came. And we talked about the relationship with themselves. We talked about the relationship with time. And we really just talked about the relationship with their business. So I just added into our notes that we're going to do a bonus episode on our mini series on the relationship with time, because nobody raised their hand at that conference that they had a great relationship with time. And I also feel like, for those of you guys who know us, who heard us, seen us, we are all about creating life-work balance. No, I didn't say it wrong. We help you create life-work balance, and that has to do with time. And so today we're going to talk about your business. So we'll just dive in as coaches, as women entrepreneurs, as women who've worked corporate, women who've done all the things. We see a huge common mistake with our clients, with people that come on, jump on calls with us, is that they feel like they have to work a crazy amount of hours. If they're the provider, if they have a side hustle, if they're starting a business, there's this society, the shoulds. Well, like if I'm starting a business, I gotta be in it. I gotta do it all the time. For people who own companies, small business owners who have teams, they always have to be available. They always have to be on. They always. So today we just want to talk about really establishing. If you get anything from these mini series, is at least start with one healthy boundary in each part of the relationships that we're talking about. And today I want to talk about the relationship with your business. And no, you don't have to work, over 50, 60 hours a week. No, you don't always have to be on for your clients. No, you don't always have to be on for your teams. And I know you're thinking, oh, Gio, you don't know. Yvette, you don't know. Oh, we absolutely do. Combined between all of our years of work, service, whatever it is, boundaries are important. And companies have contracts, companies have policies, procedures. So if you're starting a business, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're like, you got to do the same thing from the very beginning. You have to have a manual, you have to have contracts, your time is super valuable. So you need to make sure you have those boundaries in place for yourself, for your team, and for your clients. Ooh.
Oh, like you say, this is your topic as you get on a roll and it's just like breathe. Like breathe. Okay. I thought about this because I think there's so many layers and so many ways to get into this. But I feel like boundaries, especially during COVID, really changed because corporate America or people at home were now with all the other loved ones at home. And it's different. And I think that our technology has made it different. So everything from now people doing Zooms to podcasting to even what we're doing, like I said, people being at home, working from home, hours changing where maybe some people are like, I go into office 2 days a week, I'm at home 3 days a week. All those things have completely changed just everyone's outlook on how to really have healthy boundaries. So I feel like this is a topic that everybody really needs to self-assess how their personal boundaries are really going with everyone around them. But obviously today we're talking about businesses in general. So I feel like it's different than it was before. And then having boundaries right now, I feel like there's such a pressure to not be able to say no. It's so hard for us. And I think especially when it comes to work, because work means I'm working, I'm available, I'm here, I'm on it. It's like you're on a team and you're like, coach, put me in, I'm ready to go. Well, ready to go does not mean that you're on 24/7 or that you're doing it where now you're working 60 hours a week. 60 hours a week does not equate that you are going to get a promotion, that you're going to get more salary, it doesn't mean that you're going to, like, if I do these things and I work myself to death, that I'm for sure going to go up the corporate ladder. No one in the world ever said that was going to be a thing. What you might be doing is setting yourself up for mental health problems, physical problems, stress in your family, burnout. And then you're not even liking what you're doing anymore because you're working so hard. Your creativity goes down at work. You're not as productive. You don't want to be around coworkers. Maybe you're not even on time anymore. So then your production just goes down. So the very thing that you're hoping happens, it just is counterintuitive, but it goes backwards. And then you're going down the rabbit trail that you didn't want to do in the beginning. So working harder, not saying no, does not actually equal that something incredible is going to happen on the other end. And I think that that's such a misnomer to corporate world or just work environments in general.
Yeah. One of the things that, we've been doing lately is going in and doing workshops for teams, small business owners with teams, because we're teaching them about boundaries. We're also teaching them about boundaries for themselves, for them and their boss, but also for them and their clients. And different industries are, you and I have been in completely different industries. We were in the wedding industry. We were always told, well, if you pick up the phone and you're the first one, the likelihood of them booking you is going to be higher than, or they'll go to the next venue or they'll go to the next planner. And for a long time, we ran our business that way, but then we stopped and we're like, what are we doing? Why are being always available? Is not the correct thing. And we were also attracting the wrong client. And, it's one of those things where when we go and teach this and we go talk to people, like they're like, what do you mean I can't pick up the phone, but I'm in insurance? Or, what do you mean I'm a realtor? Like I always need to be available. But this is what happens. That is the first connection you have with the client that sets the tone for your relationship going forward. So if you were always available and a month in, 2 months in, you're like, I hate this client. They're always calling me. They're always texting me. They're always like, I have other clients. Well, duh. Yeah, we all know that. So if you had boundaries and you had a conversation with a potential client, a lead, that this is how I run my business, schedule a call on this link, that is your time. Because we have other clients, if I don't pick up within, if I don't send an email back within 72 hours, or I won't do it on the weekend, when you establish clear boundaries, no client ever is going to be like, oh, man, they really take care of their clients. I'm not going to work with them. Man, they really do value time and want to spend the proper amount of time with them. I'm not going to work with them. Has said no one ever. Now, the clients that are like, oh, well, you're not available, you didn't pick up the call, those aren't the clients for you. And that's okay. You have to be okay with that. But we have clients that have gone from 45-hour work weeks to 30-hour work weeks. And they're like, oh my God, I'm living my best life. Because when they're working, they're working. Also, the number one reason why, their phone, shiny object syndrome, they're like, oh, I'm like, you guys are on your phone all the time. That takes up your time. They've scheduled a link for clients to book them on their schedule. They spend the right amount of time with their clients. They do the follow-up process, which is super important. And guess what? They're making more money, working less, having life first, work second, and now they're making space for the clients that they want to work with the champagne clients, because that's the most important thing. We didn't start a business. We don't, even if you're working for corporate, the time that you're at work, be at work. And it's actually been a study that most people that worked from home in corporate worked less and did more because they had more life opportunity. They were getting off at 2:00, 3:00, being off all on the weekends because they prioritize their time. And they're like, oh, I'm not driving to the office. I'm not taking an hour break to go get some food. They were really making sure that they can do a 6-hour workday or have 3 days off, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So this is all like not Geo and Yvette world. We're not like, oh, we made these up. Definitely not. We're also we're not only two business owners who did it in an industry that said couldn't happen. We did it, but we're also doing it with our clients. We're doing it with small business owners. We're doing it with teams. But the number one thing is establishing those boundaries. And guess what? Clients don't know what they don't know, because people get all the time, but this is how we've always ran the business. Awesome. So your old clients, okay, great. New transitions, new things, but your new clients don't know that. And like I said, no lead or client or person that wants to work with you is ever going to say, yeah, they really have their shit together, so I don't want to work with them because they're giving me all the time that I'm supposed to have instead of just being at my beck and call. Said no client ever. So dropping the mic. I'm done.
Oh my God. Okay. So let's, because I always feel like people, I do this when I listen to a podcast. I'm like, but you don't understand. You don't understand. You don't understand. You don't understand. So healthy boundaries play such a significant role in a positive work environment. And that starts from the top down.
Yeah.
So if you're listening and you own a company, you're the CEO, you've got all your employees, this begins with you. If your expectation for yourself is that you're working 60 hours a week, of course, you're going to put that on your employees. They're going to have, like we said, they're going to have the burnout. They're going to be stressed out, and then your production is going to go way down. So even though they may be working 60 hours a week, that 60 hours a week is really not productive versus the typical 40 hours a week with a 9-to-5 job or whatever. And then they're putting out more production for you and being more active at work. So I always feel like people go, well, what can I do if no one's really listening? Like if no one's really listening to me, what can I do? First and foremost, it starts with you and just the littlest things. Let's say you have a cubicle and you tell the people around you, hey, listen, from this time to this time, I'm answering leads, I'm on the phone, I'm doing this. When I have my little sign on my little cubicle that's turned to red, that means stop. Please don't come in and interrupt me because I'm really trying to focus, because I'm really trying to get work done. Okay. You are in a work environment and people need to respect that boundary. It's not time for, oh girl, but you don't understand. I need to tell you what happened on my weekend. Okay. That's for bathroom talk, water cooler talk, go to happy hour afterwards. That is not the time to be, you're at work. But then that, again, that's a boundary. So it begins with you, just the littlest things. I honestly feel like corporate America right now, they're losing employees and people in the workforce and in all industries because they're not listening to their employees. They're not listening to, I'm overworked and I'm stressed and my family life is shit because I'm never home. Now we have to put the whole please be careful if you've got children in the car. Okay, anyway, they don't listen to their employees because they're on burnout, and their life and their work environment for themselves is not healthy. So they bring that to work. It's like a cyclical thing. If you're overworked and you're stressed and you go home and you're tired, then you don't want to talk to anybody. You're like, leave me alone. Then your partner gets mad at you. The kids are like mad at you. Why can't I talk to mom or dad? Da, 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 da. Then you go to bed and it's like this rotating stress. You have to do something about it. So I would say this. I think it's okay to go to HR and say, this is what's going on in my life, in my world. What can I, as an employee, do to help support the company and or create a different culture? What can we do that's positive? This is the other thing I want to say too. I just thought of it. I think that we get hung up on hours. Kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. We get hung up on I'm working so many hours, of course, because I think one day I'm going to get that raise. The best thing to do is to look at everyone you touch, everything that you're doing. Who do I call? How do I handle this? All the people you're interacting with. How can you serve? Just the most simplest task. How can I problem solve? This seems to be a problem in our environment or with our clients or onboarding or sales or marketing or whatever. I see this problem going over and over and over. What can I suggest, create, do, whatever it is that might solve that problem with everybody? That is way more valuable to your boss and that business than if you just stuck around for those 60 hours, but are sitting there working to death.
Yeah.
The other thing that just came to my mind is that I think that we put such an identity on ourselves for our titles, what we do, and what we can say we're producing. I just feel like, again, when you meet people,
oh my God, totally.
I'm so-and-so, I'm this, and I got my DDD, SED, dot, at the end of my name. What does that all that mean?
It's so funny. When we were doing our business cards, I thought about that. But first of all, we've never said, oh, I'm the CEO of YG Collaboration. I'd be like, oh my God, dying right now. We're just relationship coaches. Here's my name. Here's my number. Here's my QR code to schedule your 45-minute connection call, because that's your 45 minutes. But yeah, I think that's hilarious too, because I'm like, just a person living my best life, serving people.
And again, we're so taught. I mean, it's crazy how we're conditioned to think, who are you?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of like and that's what you're known for. And then what are the accolades that come after that? The accolades meaning your ... I have a degree in, I'm a so-and-so in this. I'm a $1 million marketer. I'm a okay. Is that truly who you are? Because really that's putting work first, then your life, instead of who you are as a person. And then the work just is an extension of that, because you're getting to do something you love. You're getting to provide a service to someone. But I am Yvette. I'm a relationship coach versus I'm Yvette. I love to go to the beach and I love to hang out, and I have amazing third floor that I hang out on, and I love my kids and like whatever, versus I'm a relationship coach.
Yeah.
Okay. There's 5 million relationship coaches. There's not, but I mean, that's exaggeration.
But there's a million life coaches. No, I get that. I agree. And for those of you guys who know us and are in Houston, we do quarterly events where we play a fun game where you get to come and have a girls' night out, but you can't talk about work. You can't talk about your kids, your spouse. You have to talk about you. And people are like, oh my God, I don't know what to talk about. Well, this is what you should be doing, is self-realizing, who are you? Not where do you work? What do you do? What have you done? So before we close out, I do want to just give a couple of examples. So if you are a small business owner, you have a team, maybe you're in network marketing, you have a team, anybody that has a team. A great boundary that you can start to establish is no more text messaging. People are like, what do you mean no more text messaging? Yeah. Text messaging can be the death of a team of an employee and start doing emails and saying, hey, 48 to 72 hours, I'll get back to you. Or you do your team meetings, or you do your team one-on-ones, or they can schedule a time to talk to you, 10 minutes, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, where they schedule it on your time. I know that's so crazy, but that's really, really important. Also establishing, like, if you already have a team, hey, these are the new policies and procedures. 4 o'clock, you're done. If it didn't get done, we'll see you again tomorrow. If you need to reach me, here's the calendar link to call me for a call, or here's the or send me an email. But these are all things that are super important. If you are a solopreneur, entrepreneur, you need to come up with the same thing with your clients. You shouldn't be allowing your clients to text you at all times. You shouldn't be sending emails at 2 o'clock in the morning. Everything is timestamped now. So we really do a great job with, if you need to schedule a connection call, it's 45 minutes with us. Here's our link. Because our time is extremely important for ourselves, for our life, but also for our other clients. And even if we have a 15-minute window before we get on with another client, that's a 15 window for us to get ready for our clients. So it's really, really important. No client ever is going to be like, oh my God, they really do appreciate the people they work with, so I'm not going to work with them. So I'm going to leave you with that. For those of you guys who are in Houston, we do have group coaching where we do in-person workshops. We teach you mission statements. We teach you how to create your boundaries and the top 3 relationships in your life. We also teach you how to create content that nurtures, serves, and educates. We teach you how to work on your follow-up process, where most companies, entrepreneurs, teams really drop the ball, is the follow-up process. And then we do a lot of inner work on our group calls on rediscovering who you are and really finding an identity that's not your job, that's not your spouse, that's not your kids. So if you are interested in working with us, schedule your Connect call. The links are everywhere that you're seeing us or hearing us. We would love to meet with you. And we'll be back on next week for part 3 of our mini series. Next week is, what happened to my list? Okay.
Kids.
Oh, I have partner, but was fine.
Okay, let's go through this. So for part 1 is yourself. Part 2 is business. I have kids, but we'll see. Then partner, extended family, friends, and then our bonus episode, time.
Right. Yep. So if you're listening to part 2, go back to part 1. We will be back next week with the live on Wednesday. Our podcast drop every Friday on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, all the places where podcasts are. And if you need to reach us, DM us, schedule a consult. We would love to hear from you. Until then, see you next week.
Bye.